Morning guys, warm welcome back to Allotment. It's Sunday the 18th of July 2021. All the beds are done, fed and watered, etc. All the corn bins topped up, all the water bottles are all done. I'm just going to have this cup of coffee, and then today we're going to do something in the garden. So my goal is basically to get a small harvest. We've got some courgettes that are ready. We've got some beetroots, the last of the beetroots are ready. The 6 leeks, small leeks, last year's leeks that we planted, one actually started going to seed, so I'm going to pull all of those and just take them as little small leeks and free a bit of space in that bed. I'm going to get rid of the lettuces that have gone over. We'll take what we can and we'll get rid of the others and get them composted and start freeing up some space ready to put some direct sowings into those spaces. And then I'll get that apple tree that we got yesterday put into the place where I want it, keeping it in the bucket because it's not a dwarf tree, that one. It's semi-vigorous, so it could get quite tall, so I'm going to keep it in the container and stunt its growth basically, but it's still producing fruit, as you can see. And then we'll get that staked as well once I decide on the location where that's going. Definitely need to get the peas in today. Probably going to be in that big bed where we had the potatoes, where the tin sheeting is. We'll probably put a bit of a mesh framing up there and get them growing up that, but they need to be in now, guys. There's no more compost left in than little Everland root trainers, and they really need to come out. And then depending on how the day goes, we'll see if there's anything else we can get done. Go and have this cup of coffee and then we'll show you around. If it's your first time here, think about it in that subscribe button, then the little bell icon on the right. Select all, and that will alert you every time I put up a new video. Thanks to all my subscribers, already and new. Really do appreciate it. Stay tuned guys, and I'll catch you later. Right guys, we're over in the garden. As you can see, everything is just turned into an absolute jungle now. I'm probably going to need some advice if someone can help me out. Probably Teddy King, I would imagine. We can see our 4 sweet corns that we planted are doing exceptionally well. They've got this, what I believe is the pollen. And you shake this, I can see a bit of pollen coming off that there, yeah. These ones, some of them aren't quite out yet. But I can also see some tassels here, so I'm assuming that we take a bit of that and we'll just try and get some onto there. And I'm assuming this is what we pollinate. Never grew them before, as I say. Now there appears to be a couple of suckers on here as well. Let me know if I'm meant to cut these back or if this is where the actual sweet corns come from. Am I meant to leave these and this is where the sweet corns actually start to put these little tassels out? Any advice would be grateful. If Teddy watches this, I've no doubt he will comment. Anyone else who wants to comment, please feel free. These lettuces have pretty much gone over. We might get one of them. They are edible, but we just can't consume this many, guys. But I like to have more than enough because basically the rest will make compost, and 2 we'll always have a lettuce. And as you know, we've got our next batch all over there which need to get planted out. So, last week I showed you we took all the leaves back off these cabbages to let the hearts heart up. And Teddy King had actually mentioned on my channel, he said basically they'll go to seed. Now, because they're all but ready and edible anyways, we left them. But Mother Nature has looked after these, and what's happened is I didn't do this, they've peeled some of the leaves back from the heart for photosynthesis. So obviously what I'd done was wrong. I could have probably trimmed them round and just left 1 or 2 and then they would have just continued. But a lesson learned, guys. Here you'll see now we've got some mole scarers potentially. And we've put these in to see if we can get rid of Jeff. Now we've put them in. They are working, they vibrate and make an audible sound. And it's a bit early yet to find out whether they're going to work or not. But I've nothing else to lose, guys. We're fed up of it, and all we can do is try. So looking in here, oh, basically we've got one there, we've got one down there, one in the bottom potato bed, and one over there. The strawberries have produced magnificently, these 9 plants in here, and they're just about finished now, these ones, so we'll look about cutting them back. These onions we thinned out, some are doing really well, others not so well, but they are still growing. We'll wait and see. You'll win some, lose some. Our strawberries, I think they've actually taken, and I've been putting water on these pots through the week, and as you can see they're flowering up really, really, really nice. Now I think it was Catherine that mentioned on the videos that she liked the pink flowers on these particular strawberries. I think it was these ones she was referring to. Now these are an F1. These are an F1 strawberry that I bought last year during lockdown. The type escapes me, but I will find a label. Yeah, Frisian. I know some of these are Frisian. Yeah. Not sure whether you can see that, Catherine. They're an F1 Frisian. And then there was some others, which I now can't remember the name of, but there was only 1 or 2 that survived, and I know they're down this end here. And they're not too clever, and you can just see a mouse there actually feeding on these strawberries. Just seen it run across the bed. And these also have the lighter pink, and these are Roman, F1 Roman they call these ones. So that's basically what these are, but we are taking some runners off these now. We haven't actually taken any strawberries off these. The birds have been eating them, and I've just discovered now we've got a mouse that's eating them as well. If you can hear a buzzing in the background, it's this mole scarer, and it vibrates in the ground as well. Now, I've heard some people say they're rubbish, and I've heard some people say they do work. So what we've got to lose, nothing. For 20 quid, we've put them in, and we'll see what happens, guys. I'm pleased with how these onions are really coming on. Really, really pleased about this. Yesterday I mentioned about an app called Google Lens, and this particular apple tree, as you can see, is suffering really bad. And we've done a diagnosis on it with Google Lens, and it's black scab. So we need to get that tree, all the bad leaves off it, and we need to treat that at the back end as well, guys. It looks like it's spread to this one branch here, and I might end up drastically cutting that off, because that tree there is actually okay, as is this and that. Another interesting fact was this tree here came with a label on saying it was a pear tree, and I did wonder, because the leaves, as you can see, are the same as these, but broader. But then this is a more mature tree, of course. You remember we took a chainsaw to this and cut it back, and when I put that on Google Lens, it came back and told me it was an apple tree, indeed, not a pear tree. Now, if that is the case, which it probably is, it's no wonder we've never had any pears off our pear tree, because we don't have one that, as a pollinating companion. But we've got those little dwarf ones now. If they get established, we should have pollinating partners for them. And more importantly, it's looking like these are apples and not pears, now that they've got a bit of size about them. And we do still have the little one on here as well, guys. The primroses are trying to handle this. They've got a bit of shade from the trees. They are still alive, although not the best, and we did cover them with bark chippings, but the birds decided to uncover them. Not sure how well you'll be able to see this, but I just want to give you a look at these leeks, and you'll see how well these are doing. First time I've grew leeks, guys. Like I've said, I'm a novice gardener, I'm still learning, guys. We learned that we need to cover over Brussels sprouts. They're getting butched. However, in spite of, it does appear that we're getting Brussels sprouts on these, guys. But these were planted really early, these. Correct me if I'm wrong, and that's just some more leaf budding out in there. Let me know. So what we've done is we've taken a harvest as well. These experimental leeks we had in here started to go to seed eventually. So we've pulled them. They're not big, but rather than compost them, we can use those. We've completely harvested the rest of the beetroot now, and as you can see, this is the 4th picking of beetroot we've had now, and this lot's going to be pickled. Then we've got 2 courgettes, and we've pulled another turnip. Not the biggest or best in the world, but at this time of year, very welcome. So, consider I'm a novice. We had 22 turnips in this little area, a 3 foot by 4 foot bed if you remember, and we took 12 when they were sort of that size, and now we're leaving these to mature and grow on, and we're taking them about that size so they don't get too big and too woody, guys. They're not fantastic, they don't look brilliant, and I would say the reason for that is because turnips do like to put the roots down pretty deep, and this is a no-dig bed. We went straight on top of weeds, as you know if you look back in the videos, and we've only got that sort of much compost, so the turnips are lifting themselves well out of the ground. But as you can see, some of them are getting quite a bit of size about them, and we'll just leave them. As they get to about that size, we'll just keep taking them, guys. But for an early harvest of turnips, they'll do me. Right, I'll just give you one quick look in the polytunnel as well. I was mentioning about these trees. You could see these were getting lots and lots of brown leaf. These are significantly better than they were last week. We've been watering them diligently. Yeah, that's lovely and moist under there now. Which gave them a drink earlier, but the sun's already dried it out already. You can see the new foliage coming out on this lemon tree, and you can see it's now starting to put out new flowers. Lots of new growth, and we will cut these back by about a half when it's finished flowering, guys. Lemons flower, they can have flowers, green lemons and ripe lemons on all at the same time. We lost the first lot, as you know, because we weren't watering correctly. There's some more there. These are looking significantly better now. These are the little dwarf peach and nectarines. And our orange, interestingly, was sold as an orange, and the label on here that was wrapped around the tree says it's an orange. But Google Lens thinks it's a lemon. And we have ended up, excuse me, this is the only one it didn't drop. And it's maturing now, so we're going to leave that, and perhaps that'll be the giveaway. But as you can see, this is putting out loads and loads and loads of new foliage. And incidentally, that's on a new branch. All the ones on the top died back and we lost them and they all fell off. My fault, not watering sufficiently. I know citrus do like it to be on the dry side, but you give them a good soaking, couple of days running, and then let them drain back, but only for 2 or 3 days. Check it with your finger, and then another good soaking, guys. Deep watering is the key. But yeah, and the heat in here, like I said, we're going to put another 1 or even 2 windows in here, and we're going to put another 1, 2 windows in here, because the heat in here is horrendous. In spite of us having that open window there and this door completely open at all times, it's still horrendously hot in here. But as you can see, the lemon loves it. But we need some airflow, guys. Right, guys, we finally got our second lot of peas planted now. Hopefully they'll fare a bit better over here because they've got more shade with this tin sheeting. So all I've done is I've knocked some of these pins in that I bought earlier, quite a while ago. And I've just knocked some pins, hammered them in with a hammer. And I've basically threaded the pins through this plastic coated mesh to keep it relatively tight and relatively strong. If we need to put a bit of wire across there as well, from the fence to that end, once the peas get up a bit, we will do that until they grab hold of the top half. But we've just got all these planted now. We grew these in the Agriland root trainers, and they didn't all germinate, but we've got enough to fill this bed pretty well spaced out, which will probably do them better being spaced out a bit, I would imagine. but there's quite a significant amount that didn't germinate, as you can see. But nonetheless, we got, I would say, 2/3 of them. What I like about these is once they're ready to come out, you simply just push down these clips inside here, and the little pegs underneath actually push the plants out for you. The little fingers underneath push the plants up, and you just simply lift them out. And then all I've done was I lifted them out, threw them on the bed, laid them out and spaced them out the best I could with what we had, and then dibbed holes, dropped them in and give them a good water. Now they absolutely look like they were soaking wet, and they've got a bit of moisture, but as you can see guys, there wasn't a great amount. It's just crumbling in my hands. So we got them in just in the nick of time, guys. They got up to size, that's about the size we want them, and we've got them in the bed now. Give them a good watering, and of course the sun's off them now, so it's not going to evaporate that, and they're going to get a good chance to get established by the morning. Right guys, I'm in the shade having a cup of coffee. It's 3:30 in the afternoon now, and I'm absolutely molten. You can probably see the colour of my face. I'm like a beetroot. All my arms are burned and everything. So after we got those peas planted, I did toy with the idea of putting in some of the other vegetables. And I thought, well, in order to be able to do that, if I'm going to do it right, I need to make some caging for them, or a makeshift bed of netting, which is going to be lifting the netting up and all the rest of it. Anyways, long story short, I thought long and hard about it. I haven't actually planted them in yet, but we may get them planted out before next weekend, because when I come up after work to water plants, I might do a little bit more. But basically what I've done is I've turned 4 of the 7 potato beds into a walk-in netted area. Now it's not finished, obviously. I only started on it after I put the peas in and done all the other bits and pieces. So I've got the frame up, I've got the 2 sides, the roof, and everything cross-braced, make it strong and rugged. 2 of the long side rails on. Need to put the 2 top side rails on. And a brace across the back, and that's pretty much ready for being netted. Obviously, so what we had is we had 4 beds. We had 1, 2, then a path, and then 1, 2 beds again. So I've got my path down the centre, and I've got my 4 beds inside it. And so the back can be sealed off and just netted, but the front I will need to make a door, obviously, for getting in and out of, and just a small joining piece in the bottom where the 2 beds didn't meet, but low enough that I can bump the wheelbarrow over if I need to take the wheelbarrow in for to do any weeding or anything like that. So I'll have to just try and keep those plants going in those little plug pots for now. They still seem to be okay, but this weather is really taking its toll on them. I've tried to get them in the shadiest place I can possibly get them in, but yeah, they're still drying out pretty fast, and I'm having to keep an eye on them. I really want to be in the beds now, guys. But I thought, right, you know what, rather than make several beds, having to lift them off in winter and move them and faff around and lifting netting up to get underneath, to harvest, to check, to weed, and I thought that's going to just be a nightmare. So I decided to make a walk-in cage to protect the lettuces and brassicas, cauliflowers, etc, and protect anything I put in there, basically. And then whilst I was admiring my own work, I decided, you know something, once it's complete, I put a shelf in midway round, I'll be able to put strawberry planters right round as well. And they're basically out in the elements, but protected from birds and hopefully insects as well, guys. So that's my intentions. So we'll give you a quick look at that Managed to get the grass cut as well. I've got all the trimming done in out here as well, prior to going over to the garden. So you know, yesterday we cut the grass, but we didn't get all the trimming down between the paving flags and all the rest of it, but we have now. Gonna have this cup of coffee, then we'll give you a quick look at what we've done, and then a final roundup, guys. Right guys, so we've got our apple tree moved over here, and as you can see, it is a pretty small tree this. We're obviously up on a height, we're sitting on a bed, and it's still only 6 foot. And we can sink that pot in if I really wish to. But you can see we've knocked a substantial post in here, and we've got a brace on there just in case for later in the year, which will hopefully secure it and keep it tight. And you see what I've done is I've actually double looped to give a broad area to protect it, and just slip knotted it and then tied off on this post here, and that's absolutely solid, that guys. So there'll be a little bit of flexibility, and the trees are designed to flex in the wind, but we don't want it being ripped out of its pot basically. So that's a good job. Along with the harvest we did get a couple of lettuces out of those, and then we've basically binned the rest. So we've got, I need to get a wire and tie these peas back as well as they're fallen over. That was a bit naff, that makeshift frame. It's not going to be today, but we'll maybe tomorrow evening or something like that, when I've got nothing else to do. And then that'll give us quite a bit of area here. But you can see these onions, in spite of being swamped out with the lettuces and everything else, they are still trying to make a go of it. So even if we want to take them as spring onions, guys, they'll be fine. We've got plenty of space back in here now as well, and we've got a good third of a bed there as well. If we cut some of the foliage back on the courgette, which you can see I already have, then we've got about a third of a bed. We can put some radish down there or something like that. So let me give you a look at what I've been fighting with all afternoon. So basically what we've done now is we've made this walking cage. I did toy with the idea, like I said, of making individual little mesh frames so I could lift them on and off the beds for quick access, but then as you lift them off, if they've got bushy leaves and you try to put them back on, they'll stick out, you crush the leaves, and I thought, no. So I decided if we're going to do it, let's just do it right. And I had all of these timbers that was left over from the last project just sitting on the top of there, and it turns out there was just enough. So basically what we've done, and we bought these with the intentions of making frames for the beds. So we've only used a few of these and covered more area, if you will. So basically it's 6 foot this side and 6'6" that side, and that's because the ground runs, as you very well know, guys. So to try and square it up, we basically heightened one side higher than the other, so that when you stand here and you look at it, if you see this bed here running down, that one looks square now. So good progress. We're almost ready to put the netting on. So what we'll do is we'll put the netting on, and then we'll put laths to hold the netting down on the bed. Lath on top of that lath, lath on top of that one, and likewise. So what we've still got to do here, guys, is we need another 2 posts from here and here up to the top, and then we need to make a door frame. We need to put a lump of 4x4 or 2x2 or something on the bottom of there, scrape the wood back and put the wood in there so we can bump the wheelbarrow over it, but bring the door down, but so it can still open. Probably open it that way because the ground runs that way, which will give it height as opposed to catching on the ground. And then we can get a wheelbarrow up the centre of there. And you'll see we've got the cross members in from the post, main post, down to the side of the bed, screwed into the bed, screwed into the posts. Likewise, all 3. And this is pretty rugged, this, guys, and the fact it's going to be netted, the wind will be able to blow through it, so it isn't going to be taken away in a gale or anything like that. So good progress. The hardest part I'll probably be doing is netting the top, but I've got this type of netting to do the top with. It's very fine, but it will let the rain through better, and it won't hold snow if it snows and sag. Oh, that's the theory. It's an inch square, I think it is, or just under an inch square. I'm hoping that will keep out butterflies, but I don't know. Let me know, guys. If it doesn't, please let me know, and we'll think of an alternative, or we might double it. We might put one layer on and then go over it again, but moving the squares over to half of that, and then potentially that will work. So yeah, it's a lot of hard work and quite a bit of construction, guys, but inevitably I'll benefit from it in the long term. My only concern was, well, what about my potatoes? Where am I going to grow my potatoes? But there's absolutely nothing to stop me growing my potatoes in my first crop in here as well. Take out the potatoes, and then we're ready to just go straight in with any brassicas or anything like that that we need to protect. So it's a win-win situation. Not only that, like I said, if I put a shelf on all the way around, not a great big wide shelf, just a little wide enough to take a planter, I can also utilise the height and give myself a double tier growing space, and I can put strawberries all the way down there, across there and back here, or the lettuces or whatever. The possibilities are endless, basically, guys. We still need to get a brace, maybe put 2 braces across the back, and then we can get between the beds filled with a broad board, and the back can be pretty much sealed off. We only need a door at this end. Right, I've babbled on long enough, guys. Hope you've enjoyed today's little video. I'll give you a final roundup and then I'm off home. Right, guys, I'm well and truly shattered and I'm ready for home. I need some food. I haven't done it to eat all day again. Yes, I'm my own worst enemy. It's 5 o'clock. So basically I'm hoping you've enjoyed today's little video. Just give you a bit of an idea of what I'm doing over there. And if I have the energy through the week and it cools down a little bit, hopefully in the next few days, when we come to check the birds of a night time and water the plants, basically what we can do is do a little bit one night, a little bit another night, a little bit another night. That's the theory and the intentions, until perhaps we've got it done and completed, ready for next weekend, and if not, then finish it off next weekend. For now, guys, wherever you are in the world, please stay safe, be practical, keep yourselves out of harm's way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.